Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Belinda's Babies. But this is an episode of Dolly Diaries. And the reason why I decided to do this has been a little bit since I've done a video. But there's been some things that have been getting on my last nerve just about here. And it happens. It happens at my age. A lot of things get on my last nerve. But one of the things that's getting on my last nerve lately is all this yakety yak. And I haven't watched a whole lot of videos, but I jumped on today and I thought, let's watch some videos. And what is with, once again, the yakety in private conversations about other people and other people's artwork and yakety. Private groups talking about other people. Oh, sweet Lord. This doll community has a problem in regards to thinking some people are better than others. And they have no problem saying that shit. And also getting inferiority by putting other people down. So I've decided, I don't know nothing about these conversations. I just seen a video that spoke to them and other people's videos that spoke to it. So I think Facebook's not for me. The other thing is this going on about how you should role play. Only role play this way. Don't role play that way. Your doll can't have a condition. It's wrong. But you can use soothers and use bottles, but don't breastfeed. That's wrong. Who cares? Seriously, people, we're all role-playing when you get down to it. Every single one of us are role-playing when we get a doll and we play with it. And you name it. These are not real things. Some people could be offended because you're what? Having a doll and naming it? Walking around, taking it on outings? That's offensive to some people. Right? It may trigger some people. It might really trigger some people. You never know. So we're all doing something that may trigger other people. So why do we expect people to accept us for taking dolls out in public and holding them and changing them and doing that on video, but also in public? Because you don't have to watch our videos, right? You don't have to be part of Facebook groups. You don't have to watch the videos. If it's offensive, what do we do when something is offensive? Well, we move on. We find something different, right? I mean, if something's hatred, derogatory, name-calling, bullying and all that, yes, we need to stick up for each other. Yes, of course. But I mean, if someone is choosing to role-play their doll as having a condition, who gives a sweet, freaky deaky? Who cares? I don't care. I mean, and I'm not saying I don't care about individuals who have different conditions, because of course I do, right? I mean, we actually get dolls and that have conditions, that have, two faces or Down syndrome and stuff like that. So it's okay to have a doll that has Down syndrome, that has a physical sculpted to look like an individual with Down syndrome. That's okay. But it's not okay to verbally state your doll has autism. Yeah, that's over the top, right? Because you can only do certain things in role play, and that is dictated by certain people, people that think it's okay, because it's offensive, It's offensive to say my doll has autism. Why? Because it's a hidden disability for the most part, physically, but it's okay to physically have like a Down syndrome in a doll, or I don't know, different conditions that different dolls have in different, I don't even know. But there is some dolls that are sculpted to have different conditions, okay? So how is that okay? My God, people. Who gives a sweet F? If it bothers you, move on. You know? Who cares? We're all playing. Didn't you play when you were a little kid? You know? You played, right? Your parents did this and I did that and blah, 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 blah. Maybe it's beneficial to that person that's doing that in some way. I mean, I don't like it that, oh, you can't, it's really sick. You know, it's really sick if you breastfeed your doll or pretend to, but it's not if you bottle feed. I mean, people are not going to flat out show their breasts. But people bottle feed and they don't think anything of it. Why is this acceptable in the dolly community? So this is all about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And currently it's not acceptable to have a doll with a condition with autism, but it is to have a physical condition. But not physical, because Down syndrome is also an intellectual condition and a physical looking condition. Why can't we represent all? Who cares, right? Because they're dolls. And we're people, and there's all kinds of people that make up this world, and we're all part of this world. Anyway, it just frickin' well irritated me. And then I heard about another. Well, I was scrolling through Facebook and it came up, I don't know, one of my things talking about something in some country and laws that are going to come out about dolls. And then I was watching Mandy's video and Mandy said, start talking about it. And I thought, well, I got to see who's she talking about. So I jumped on YouTube and I thought, well, let's see. And I didn't go searching. I just started scrolling, you know, and the things come up that you're interested in. And lo and behold, this video comes up. So trigger warning, the video says. Let's watch it.
Because you might have to go to 2 or 3 different stores doesn't mean there's a formula shortage. Just could mean that they don't have the one that you feed your baby.
This woman uses formula for her reborn dolls and says actually babies should just drink any. What? The truth about formula shortage is, oh, this is so old news. Ridiculous. The bizarre, controversial world of reborn dolls. Hannah the Horrible. Who the hell is Hannah the Horrible? I don't know nothing about her. I just seen this controversial world of reborn dolls. This is me blind watching this. I have not watched this.
People here were initially crying when they heard that a baby was found dead on the side of the home behind me. But then those tears quickly turned to shock when we found out hours later that baby was just a doll.
It is not okay to role play that you have an autistic child. I can't believe I actually have to say this, and I'm probably gonna get...
Oh my sweet hell. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. This individual with this baby has been kicked out of groups, and now Reborns of Jess, who's a popular person, on YouTube, is now going on about this. And now this Hannah the Horrible, which is 49,000 subscribers, is going on about this. Okay.
Get a lot of backlash and caught up in all sorts of drama by putting this out here, but this is incredibly offensive.
We're going to talk about this a little bit. It's very uncomfortable, and I will just warn you now that you're going to be uncomfy. It begs the question, though, if we are producing dolls like this, will there be the wrong type of person also secretly purchasing them because it's legal to do so?
Okay. If we're making dolls like this, will the wrong person buy the doll? And what? Do what with it? Do something sexual? Is that what you're talking about? Like, of course, there's going to be people, all kinds of people out there doing all kinds of weird shit. They always have. So, oh, I'm sorry. We're not allowed to have them no more.
Hey humans, it's Hannah. Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, we do videos on creepy and disturbing things.
I've never seen this channel before, but she does things on creepy things. Oh my gosh, we made the creepy list.
here, and today we are talking about reborn dolls. Everything about them, what they are, the TikTok community, the drama, the controversy, but also why so many people find them so incredibly creepy and disturbing.
Excuse me, Miss Hannah the Horrible? There's a lot of people that find them that love them. They collect them. Why? And weird, what are they called? Warhammer shit. Oh!
There is a weird amount of niche drama that goes on in the reborn doll community, and I want to talk about that today as well and watch some videos with you guys together. Now, I've wanted to make a video like this for a while, but I've hesitated because I feel like this community gets so much hate, so much bullying, and before you get mad at me before you even watch the video, I do urge you to keep watching the video because there's a lot of nuance here, and while I have a lot of criticisms of some parts of the community, I do go over first and foremost why a lot of the hate that they receive is unwarranted, and I do not judge people, for the most part, a lot of the people that are in this community. So if you're part of this community, please don't be scared of this video, and if you're not part of this community and you've always thought these were weird and creepy, maybe keep watching also, because your opinion of reborn dolls might be very different by the end of the video.
Okay, I'm feeling a little bit better.
And even though we're going to go over all the creepy stuff and all the controversy, I think it's also important to better understand communities like this so that we are less likely to judge and less likely to hate on them. So just please bear with me, watch the video before you have one opinion or the other. I could not make videos like this without support from sponsors, so I'm going to roll to that, but I promise I will be right back. It'll be real quick. You know how when you become an adult, skin and real features, down to seeing kind of veins beneath the skin. If their eyes are open on the doll, their eyes are replaced with more realistic eyes. The artist then weaves in often real human hair, which can take many hours of work. They weight the babies to match more how it would feel to hold a newborn. They especially put weights in their head so that their heads are floppy, just like a newborn, and you have to support their head. Some of these dolls come with extra features like magnets in their mouth, so you can give them a pacifier. Some of them have voice. For a lot of people, not saying all people like babies. If you don't like babies, love that for you. But for a lot of people, holding a baby fulfills something in us. You know, holding a baby is the connection, the bond with holding a baby and being kind of the source of safety and being responsible for keeping that baby safe can be really fulfilling for a lot of us. And it could be extremely helpful for people with dementia or just very, very elderly people who might be lonely and have,
or people just like them and they want to collect them, and they don't have to bring them to nursing homes. They don't have to have a reason. It doesn't have to have anything about connection or about loss or about fulfillment or about mental illness or about anything like that. It could be just because you like them, just like maybe you collect a bunch of weird live, laugh, lobotomy. Maybe you like a lot of freaky deaky, ghostly, scary shit because you like horror. That's okay. You could have your whole room plastered in horror films and horror this and horror that. And who cares? Really? That's the whole point. That's the whole point. I can do a video of all the people that collect all kinds of horror shit. And, oh, these people are really creepy and they're this and that. And they dress in dark clothing and they do this and they do that. And they have their whole house dark and their black fingernails and all. I don't know nothing about that world. So why in the frick would I even say anything? Because I really don't care. Do what makes you happy. If you like it, do it. You don't need a reason. You don't need an excuse.
Having a reborn doll might give them a sense of purpose. It might give them a feeling of not feeling as lonely, or, sometimes it's therapeutic. I've heard testimonies, obviously I don't have any data on this, but testimonies of people, if they don't talk because of their dementia, they'll be given a reborn doll and suddenly they're talking like crazy to the reborn doll.
And that might be really good for some people. That's wonderful. But I'm so sick and tired of feeling like You have to give some sort of reason why you okay, in the background, I didn't even think about this. But in the background I have these. All kinds of people have these. Let's do a video of all the freaks that go crazy over needing these freaky things. And it needs to be this and it needs to be that. And the blind boxes and the ripping and the hollering and all the money everybody's spending. Who cares? Just like the dolls. Who really cares? Leave people alone.
As if it's their old self again. So then besides all those uses, they're also used as movie props. Like, these are extremely great for movies where there might be a newborn baby that the baby in the movie is way too young to get a real baby. For example, a birth, you know. Children, they do want children. They do happen to want what society tells them they should want. So they get reborns instead because they can't have children for whatever reason, and then we ridicule them for it. So there is just giant double standards, because I can promise you that a man who has a YouTube
Do you want a lobotomy? Is that why you have that sign up there? Is it? Oh, you have skulls. Do you want real skulls in your house? Is that why you have the sign there? There?
Channel or a TikTok channel really into Legos, collects Legos, you know they're out there, has rooms full of Legos and plays with them as a grown man, everybody thinks that's amazing. And it is cool, but like, it's, you know, it's just,
it is cool. Why? Because it doesn't look like a real human being? So that's okay, but dolls are not okay? My God.
just a hobby to everybody. They're super into something that is made for kids, and we're like, oh, that's so cool. Look at your collection. You made this entire Star Wars thing out of Legos, and that's so cool. But then when women like dolls, which are supposed to be for kids, then they get this reaction and they're called creepy and freaks and weirdos. It's just cringe to a lot of people, and I think that is super unfair. There's an entire
Thank you for that. Thank you that it's super unfair. And I'm very reactive, as you can tell, because, oh, for various reasons. One, menopause makes me reactive to everything. And the fact that a lot of folks that have dolls feel like they have to give a reason why. Well, let me think now. I collect trains because, I don't know, fulfills something in my soul. I never had a train, or I crashed a train and I lost a train, or I want to bring a train into a nursing home. It doesn't matter. You collect trains because you like them. You collect reborn dolls, or dolls in general, because you like them. You collect dark, scary horror things because you like it. That's the only reason.
Subreddit devoted to reborn doll cringe. While I understand that subreddit is not making fun of the whole community, but more just like the ugly dolls, we'll get to that subreddit here in a minute, I do think that some people on that Reddit, not accusing the whole subreddit of that, but some people on that subreddit are just like unnecessarily mean and judgmental to people who like this. And I also just want to remind you that it's not illegal to be cringe, and cringe is also a subjective term. Something cringe to a lot of people is not cringe to another group of people, and it's like, just let people enjoy things, damn. It just reminds me a lot of when I was a teenager, and while yes, I was emo, I loved My Chemical Romance, I loved Escape the Fate, shit like that. I genuinely loved those bands. I also genuinely low-key loved Britney and Taylor Swift, honestly. I found a lot of her songs really catchy, and I felt pressured to make fun of those artists and pretend like I hated them, and I just hate that. I just wish that people could like what they like. Okay, so I want to start off the video with that so that you guys all know that I am not judging this group of people as a whole. In fact, I actually have a very positive association overall and positive opinion of the reborn doll community as a whole. So if you...
Okay, thank you, is it? Hannah the Horrible. I'm Belinda the Freak. Thank you.
You like these, just know I am not judging you whatsoever, and my goal is to help people also not judge you and not be mean, unless you're doing some of the super weird problematic stuff that does come out of this community, unfortunately.
Okay, let's see what this is.
So, some fair criticisms. Let's talk about the controversy. So the main criticism that you'll see over and over is they're creepy. I am about to show you some pictures of the creepy reborn dolls, because this is what most reborn dolls look like. Like, while it is like pretty uncanny valley, it's, you know, it looks like a baby. But I'm about to show you some of the pictures from that people have found on the Snark subreddit, on the cringe subreddit. And no matter however creepy you're thinking that these are in your head, double it. And then after that, triple it. And then after that, you're still not prepared. Trust me, because some of these are just wrong. Because when we have dolls like this, or this, or this, or this, and here's a few more, it is understandable why some people have a bad perception of reborn dolls. It doesn't really help the reputation. However,
Okay, so those are dolls of new sculptors and new artists. That's what it is. But the people that have them probably really like them. What's this back here? A Ouija board. That appears creepy. Appears a tad creepy. We got a crow skeleton here and crows and a little bit creepy.
I do want to note that this subreddit is pretty much devoted.
Has nothing to do with creepy. It has to do with some dolls some artists are more progressed than others. Some sculpting is more progressed than others. Some drawings look more real than others. Do you ever see art? Art varies, right? You may not like that particular art that you showed back there, but maybe someone does.
To posting the bad, ugly dolls, and
It's not ugly. There's ugly paintings, right? So let's go through, I don't know, an art gallery, and we'll pick out the ugly ones and we'll plaster them, and we'll pick out the ones that you consider not ugly and we'll plaster them, because art is subjective, correct?
do you think a lot of these come down to inexperienced or just plain bad artists that are just not very good at it either yet, or they're just not good at it in general? Like, sorry, it's okay to also be bad at something.
So arts that hang, have you ever gone to a gallery? You ever see some of that crazy weird art? You know, you'll go into a gallery and all you're seeing in the corner is like an old chair with a bunch of rundown shirts on it and dirt piled on top of it, and then you may have some worms thrown there, and we call that art. And then over here you have some art from some like hundreds and hundreds of years ago in a massive frame of that looks so realistic, and you're both are in the same gallery. Maybe we should take some of that art and make a video and say this is ugly and this is not ugly. How about this? Art or love is in the eye of the beholder. Some I would buy, some I wouldn't, because my style is different than some others. There's really elite, high-end doll collectors who will only buy high-end dolls. I have dolls that are not high-end.
I do think that most collectors are not going out and buying these dolls. I think the vast majority of them do want realistic, cute reborn dolls. And then in terms of being creepy, here's kind of a gray area in between unfair and fair criticisms. The whole reborn doll community does a lot of role playing. We're going to talk about that throughout this video, but people, when they role play, it gets immersive and it gets very detailed, and it does, to an outsider, Again, I'm so sorry. I'm like you're not hurting anybody, right? So there's nothing wrong with that, but I can understand why it feels a little creepy to people that don't get it. And people role play. Here's some examples of some role playing with the dolls, and it's might be a little more intense than you're imagining.
Let's get my fake baby ready for nap time. Cohen was chilling by my side in the office while I was getting some work done, but he started fussing, so I figured it was probably time for his bottle. I sat him in his swing so I can get his bottle all ready. Cohen has been very consistent with 2 ounces of milk, and sometimes he's still hungry after he's done eating, so I went ahead and gave him 3 scoops of Kendamil, and we'll just have to see how he does with 3 ounces. I went ahead and refilled the bottle warmer with some water, and then I popped in his bottle. Cohen was still fussing, so I decided to go grab him from his swing and try to comfort him while we waited for his bottle. As soon as I heard the bottle warmer beep, I went ahead and grabbed his bottle. He was definitely getting very impatient. I quickly sat down with him.
Maybe we gotta stop using the word role play and start using the word playing. She's playing with the doll. So we get the doll, and then what do? Set it on the shelf and never touch it again? Oh yes. You get trains, and what do? You never play with them, right? You get Lego, and what do? You never play with them. Never. You never play with the dinky cards that people collect. Oh my gosh, all those magic cards. Well, that's a game, but you never play with them. You just get them, right? You never play. This is how we play with the doll.
And we started his feeding. He did very well with his 3 ounces, so I think it's safe to say we finally graduated from 2 ounces to 3. Once he finished that, I wiped his little mouth, and I gave him a quick little burp. I switched from patting to rubbing, from his lower back to his upper back to help it come out a little bit smoother. Once he was all burped out, we had a little bit of snuggle time, and he fell asleep pretty quickly. I've been working on getting him more comfortable sleeping in the crib. I was able to transfer him without too much of a fuss, and
what is the big deal? What is the big deal? She's playing with the doll. To me, this is like you go play with your Ouija board. You're playing with your Ouija board, right? Like, who cares? If you think it's creepy, don't do it. I think Ouija boards are creepy, and I don't do it, but I don't make a video about it.
luckily his crib is right outside my office, so I can easily keep an eye on him.
Let's do the morning routine of my reborn baby Ivory. When Ivory woke up, she was very hungry, so the first thing I did was I got out everything I needed to make her bottle. As always, fake formula. After I got out her outfit, her bottle was done warming, so I got her bib on and then I fed her.
People make these videos. I've made role-playing videos on my channel. I don't do it that often, but I have. I've taken my dolls on trips with me. I don't do it that often, but I have. The reason why I do it is for video content. People like watching this. We like watching other people play with their dolls. We do. And that's why we get together as groups sometimes and play with our dolls. Or, well, I wish I had people around here to do that with, but I don't. But we get together and we take all our dolls to the zoo, like we did when we went to Georgia. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, what is wrong with that, people?
Drinks everything so slowly, which is not a help for when we are in a rush. But thankfully this morning we are not going anywhere. But she actually did drink almost her whole...
You know what? Women are being picked on always, right? Guys, you never have people hating on trained people and making fun of trained people. Or this game Warhammer or whatever it's called, where you take the little figurines and you decorate them and paint them and artistic and whatever. I can say whatever I want about that, right? Or Dungeons and Dragons, that's a whole role-playing game, right? People dress up for that shit. And, you know, and Comic-Con, people get all freaky-deaky, dress up and do all kinds of stuff. Why is that okay? Why is that socially acceptable? But there's a problem with this. Is it because we're women and you like to make fun of us? Is it because people actually do this in real life with real children and they don't, and it's just weird to do it unless it's real? Like, I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, do people in my family accept what I do? They think I'm weird. But I don't care. I don't care. But this is the kind of thing that makes it worse.
Whole bottle. So I took off her bib and then it was time to get her changed. So I set her down in the Snuggle Me. Here's her outfit. It is so cute. It's got these little flowers on it. It turned out to be expired. And as you guys know, I eat all my dolls' food. So that means I ate rotten milk. Anyways, when I heard her stirring, I went into the nursery. Then I got her up
We were ready to check out. I did self-checkout with Sage, grabbed our receipt, and we headed out.
So yeah, again, I want to be really careful because I don't want to, they're not hurting anybody by role playing most of the time, right? And we'll get to that, but it's really...
No one who plays with anything that they love. We're living in a world of adults who like to play with Legos, trains, toys, games, I don't know what it is, but we are. And it's okay. It's more acceptable. For some reason, the doll playing is not. It's not acceptable. It's like... Look at all these fucking lafufus and labubus and all these things. I mean, there's people that have collections and collections of these. And they actually attach them to their purses and walk around with them. It's okay, isn't it? If you like it, I think we need to practice tolerance and acceptance. And if someone's got a happy smile on their face and they like it, it's okay. Okay?
There's nothing wrong with wanting to role play with your dolls, but I think posting it online, people that don't, and I know people in the community really enjoy watching these, right? They really, really like watching other people role play with their dolls, but it is just like objectively to people, like I said, people that don't get it, it is just a little creepy.
Well, don't watch it. Don't watch it.
So sorry. It is a little creepy, and it's so hard because, again, it's like, why are we telling adults that they can't play? Like, we should always use our imagination. This might be really fun for people, but I do get the criticism, even though it's not always fair. Okay, so now more of the more detrimental criticisms. We're going to talk about the 2022 formula shortage, because the drama that happened in the reborn doll community during...
Okay, that was like 3 years ago, or 2022. That was, yeah.
During that time was unmatched, and a lot of people didn't know about this because the community is fairly niche. Some reborn mommies were in the 2022 shortage of formula. So like I said, you role play with these, but with that, the 20 people buy real formula for their babies, and there was a nationwide shortage of formula. Moms were having trouble going to the store and finding the formula that they needed for their real babies, who were going to go hungry without it.
This was very minimal. And you're making a big deal out of something. A couple of stupid... This is so frustrating. This is so frustrating. Okay? This is a very small percentage of individuals at that time frame. I didn't even collect dolls at that time. Very, very small percentage.
I'm sure more people were doing this than we knew about, but the biggest public offender of this was somebody named Millie Hooper. She was the main person posting about this on TikTok, posting her buying the formula and then mixing it up and giving it to her reborn dolls. And people in the comments were like, cool, I can't even find formula for my own baby who is starving. And you just...
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. And I don't know if the baby was starving, but that's a little ridiculous. That she's just... This is not about having a doll. This is about someone causing a problem. And we have lots of that love to do things like that on the internet.
Just, okay, cool. You know, I do remember the formula shortage. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with childcare and children, if babies generally under 6 months cannot eat solid foods, like at all, they rely on either breast. Love babies, so that's why I know a lot about this. I've taken classes and stuff like that. Anyway, babies under 12 months cannot have cow's milk. They have to have either breast milk or formula. So a formula shortage, and there are legitimate reasons why some women can't breastfeed. We're not getting into that debate today, but there are extremely legitimate reasons why some women simply cannot, or they cannot feed their baby enough, you know? And so
moving on,
if you can't find enough shortage, your baby is literally rightfully mad. Reborn baby bottles and stuff like that, and then they can use it a lot too. They can use it over and over because it's not gonna, you know, go bad, at least the flour and water might, but not like fabric softener, right? So that's actually, again, I want to say, like, I just want to reiterate that only a few people were doing this. Most people in the community recognized that they shouldn't be buying real formula just to throw it down the drain. Millie has since deleted all of these videos. It was frustrating because she did kind of double down in a lot of ways and didn't handle the criticism very well.
Formula shortage. Just because you might have to go to 2 or 3 different stores doesn't mean there's a formula shortage. Just could mean that they don't have the one that you feed your baby with. You could buy the SMA, but you don't, because that's what your kid wants.
These TikToks, and I know the 2022 formula.
I'm skipping all this formula bullshit.
She explained that she had the doll because of the loss of her son, which I think we can empathize with, and this was a over $2,000 doll. But the news reports about this also said the woman was upset about the damage to her car, which, like, seriously? That like actively pisses me off. What did you think was gonna happen? You left a hyper realistic baby in a hot locked car and you thought people would just be like, it's probably fine. That's insane to me, to be upset that somebody broke your window to save a baby, or what they thought was a baby. The police department even paid for the damages to her car to get it fixed. And the woman, to her credit, got a bumper sticker on her car that also explained that it...
Reborn doll on board. I am fake. Do not I was selling something very similar on my website. Yeah, I am not real. I'm a doll. I think mine said something like that. But really, you don't want to be leaving them out in the heat anyway. It's not good for the artwork. It's artwork, so it's not a good idea. Well, in heat, I guess just leaving a kid in a car doesn't matter if it's heat or what it is, but still, yeah, covering them up. That's only common sense, and she shouldn't have got upset about them doing that. I mean, no one's gonna know if it's real or not real.
It was a doll, explaining there was a reborn doll in her car so that hopefully that wouldn't happen in the future. But like, to me, I don't think they should have paid for her car. I honestly feel like she should have taken that as the lesson and used that as as some consequences to her actions, because I'm sorry, if you're gonna bring something that looks like a real baby, if you're gonna bring it in the car with you, then bring it in with you. Bring it shopping with you then, if you're gonna...
I agree too. I mean, seriously. I mean, if... It only makes sense. If something is looking so real, you don't leave it sitting in the car. You cover it up. You do something so this sort of thing doesn't happen. I mean, come on. That's called common sense.
Bring it around with you out and about. Put it under the seat, put something over it so that people can't tell. At least do that if you don't want to leave the reborn doll at home, right? The audacity to be shocked when somebody wants to save a baby from a hot car is mind-blowing. And then probably the most disturbing news story was in June of 2019. A baby was found at a park in Queens, New York, dead. A woman was jogging in Queens and she saw what looked like a face-down dead infant on the side of the sidewalk. So she, of course, was traumatized and called 911. Police arrived quickly. They didn't realize that it was a doll. They set up a perimeter, like they set up a crime scene tape perimeter, and called EMS workers, who also came to the scene and declared the child was dead. Over 24 police officers arrived at the scenes, EMS workers, and it finally took the medical...
Okay, help me to understand this. They declared the doll dead? They didn't touch it? Like, how do you declare a doll dead? You'd have to listen for heartbeat, right? There's no heartbeat. Because usually when you touch a doll, you can tell. This was silicone.
Examiner to come because they thought that it was a dead body. It finally took the medical examiner to come and say, guys, this is not a real human. Nobody touched it to find out. It took...
No one touched it. They declared it dead, but no one touched it. So they seen something on the ground that they thought might have been a real baby, and no one touched it. So if it was dying, heaven forbid, I don't get it. This sounds a little bit crazy to me.
Took them over an hour to figure out that it wasn't a real baby. Now, to be fair to the police officers, it was made to look dead. It was a reborn baby made to look dead. And I know that is a wild sentence to come out of my mouth, but let me explain. Just like there are really ugly reborn dolls, just like they're really cute, adorable, realistic reborn dolls, there's also a whole genre of reborn dolls called alternative reborns, and these are reborn dolls with a fictional twist. So like, for example, there's an Avatar baby. This is a popular genre, Avatar reborns. There's Yoda. I've seen a werewolf pup. There's like this goat Satan baby, and yes, there are zombie like reborns. I really want to show you what it looked like in Queens, because there were pictures online of this doll in Queens. I will try to see if I can show you. I know it's just a doll, it's not a real person, but it does look really realistic, and I don't know if YouTube is going to get mad at me or not. I will decide in editing, and if not, I think I'll try to put a link down below for you guys to look at it then, I think, or tell you where to find it or something like that, because it is really interesting to see. It's not disturbing because you know it's fake, but again, YouTube's system has been really on my ass lately, so I'm trying to not piss them off. But the one in Queens, if I don't show you, it's like a blue hue to its skin. It was made to look dead. I think that it was kind of a zombie one, is my understanding, because it was even wearing a shirt that said The Crawling Dead. Get it? Instead of The Walking Dead. And most likely what happened was that this was a sick joke by somebody. This was a sick hoax, which is kind of insane considering how expensive these dolls are, to just leave one out as a hoax to make people scared that there was a dead baby lying around. They even put it face down on purpose, I think, to make...
Have you guys heard of this? I haven't heard of this at all. Crazy.
Make it less obvious that it...
Now this person should be charged. Seriously, if they did that on purpose. Doll causes scare in New York City. They should be charged.
Was a doll, and that's just...
I mean, that's not funny. That's not funny at all.
A really sick joke, and what an expensive prank. That's insane. However, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of vibing on the alternative reborns. I kind of want one.
I thought so.
Not an Avatar, but the little demon baby, the little goat demons, the demon or the dead looking ones, I kind of low-key like them.
So, you must be creepy and weird. Heaven forbid, you better not use a diaper or a bottle and something that may look like a formula. Creepy!
Because they're like creepy haunted dolls, except hyper realistic. I don't know if that's super unhinged, but
It's not unhinged. It's what you like. And that is okay.
I kind of like them. I kind of want one for my background. I just don't know if I want a $1,000 background prop, but crazy. I do kind of like the demon. I like the creepy ones. Okay, so as you could see, there have been some problems and controversies that have arrived. However, there is another big controversy that we're going to talk about, which is kind of had a twist because it's not what you'd think it is. So there's this rumor going around all over social media, all over the Reddit, of people just...
Things are getting out of hand in Brazil because they've been taking the dolls to real ER. What? During the pandemic, in the US during the pandemic, they were buying formula for the dolls while parents were struggling to find formula. I'm sorry. Okay, so... Okay. They've been taking, like, this is like a stereotypical, like, let's just blanketly all them take their dolls. There are a bunch of them. It's probably one or two people. But let's make it seem like they all do it.
Just saying this as like a side casual remark, and people are claiming that, especially in Brazil, but everywhere, there are certain moms that are taking their reborn babies to the hospital to the real hospital, to the ER for medical attention to be treated. But as far as I know, I think this is just a rumor. I don't think this has ever actually happened. Again, I keep seeing this rumor on Reddit of people like, oh, they're bringing these things to the ER now, blah, 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 blah. But I don't think anybody's actually looked into those claims very carefully, because I could not find one documented case of this actually happening, of somebody actually bringing a reborn to the hospital and saying,
they passed a bill honoring those who make the lifelike dolls pending, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, legislators everywhere across the country have debated fines for those seeking medical help for such dolls.
my baby's sick and needs help. Now, I think this rumor comes from true stories, that kind of the game of telephone of the internet. So let me explain. There was a documented case of a couple bringing their reborns into a hospital, and the human mother was allegedly wearing scrubs, and she claimed that it was just because she had gained some weight recently and the scrubs were the only thing that fit her, but didn't see the problem with going into a hospital in scrubs is obviously going to be confusing for patients, and you're going to look like a nurse, and it's going to look like you're impersonating a nurse. So they tried to sneak into the maternity ward at the hospital. Again, remember, she was wearing scrubs, and then they got caught, of course, and kicked out. But they claimed that they weren't trying to take their dolls in for medical care. They claimed that they talked to a nurse who said that those reborns would be great for the maternity ward. I think kind of like we talked about in the last TikTok video of the mannequins, where you practice on fake humans in order to practice so you don't, if you make a mistake, you don't hurt real patients, right? So I think that was the idea, and they like allegedly went into the hospital, went into the maternity ward, and were trying to show the staff in the maternity ward their reborns. I think to either sell them or to just share the hobby with them. It's not super clear, but of course they got in trouble and were kicked out, and she, instead of, she denied that she was trying to impersonate a nurse, but it kind of feels like she was trying.
How do you get in trouble? Like, I don't get it. She got in trouble and were kicked out. God, I remember I went to the casino with my doll. Huh. I don't get it.
Trying to impersonate a nurse, allegedly, in my opinion. But they weren't taking their baby to the ER. And then there's rumors, like I said, about this happening in Brazil. Moms taking their dolls to the ER. And I did find a headline about that. It's very unreliable source, very tabloidy source, mind you. But the headline said that this is going too far. Moms are bringing their reborns into the hospital. But if you actually read the article, it's
May 2025, boom, a reborn doll.
It's a completely different story. It's a completely different reborn doll story. If you actually read the article under this headline, it's about it's equally wacky because it's about a mom who is fighting for custody of the reborn with her ex-partner because her and her partner broke up, and they are fighting about custody, and actually went to a judge to ask if the judge would help them with this custody battle. And the judge—
It's not a custody battle, for it's possessions. When you break up, I want this, I want that. Like, it's an object. It's like a couch. That's what it's like. But you guys are blowing it up, making it seem like she is. Maybe this woman is. Like, these are the type of people that make it crazy, right?
Judge was like, no. And this woman was even asking on social media and Instagram, like, what should be done in this situation. And again, even then, I think the problem was that the reborn doll had a social media account that they were fighting over. So they were probably fighting over the money the social media account was making, but they also claimed they have emotional attachments to the doll and all that. But anyway, again, this article does not talk.
There are fake hospitals for reborns. Reborn nurseries. Really?
About any documented case of somebody actually bringing their reborn into a real hospital and being like, my reborn needs fluids. That doesn't make any sense.
This is not a fake hospital. This is a place where you go and adopt a doll. It's a business. I don't think, are you going to tell me this is a place where people go and get their dolls checked?
anyway. They wouldn't be able to actually do anything. The other thing I think this is getting confused with is the role playing. So we talked and showed you some of the role playing earlier, but a lot of the role playing scenarios are their dolls getting sick. And I've seen this with regular dolls and the reborn dolls. Of the doll, the whole premise of the role play video is that the doll gets sick and they need to treat it, and then sometimes...
Oh my God, at Reborn Love, she does all kinds of stuff with dolls. And this is not a reborn doll. This is just a doll. It's a doll. People like watching it. Doll collectors like watching it.
Sometimes the doll needs to be rushed to the hospital. But in these videos I've seen, they're never actually in a hospital. I saw one that was using B-roll of stock footage of a hospital, of an ambulance and a hospital, and then they just show the doll then in the hospital and somebody wearing gloves pretending to be the doctor when it's really the person filming, right? Nobody's actually taking their doll to the real hospital. They're role-playing taking the dolls to the hospital. So this big criticism about reborn people taking their dolls to the hospital, as far as I know, is unfounded and not rooted in truth whatsoever, and just kind of a rumor that spread. And that is kind of hurtful to the community because it makes them work. So she's just very clearly doesn't understand. Speaks is just an objectively terrible organization. I'm not going to go that Arnie has to see somebody online and their doll to the real hospital.
I want to see what they're saying about Arnie doll here.
To the hospital. So this big criticism about reborn people taking their dolls to the hospital, as far as I know, is unfounded and not rooted in truth whatsoever, and just kind of a rumor that spread. And that is kind of hurtful to the community because it makes them seem crazy, and it makes them seem like they fit the stereotypes that people give them, that they're weird and crazy and freaks and disturbed, when the vast majority of them are completely normal people that just are enjoying a hobby. This is just perpetuating the bullying and the ridicule when there's no evidence that they've actually ever done this, that anybody's actually done this. However, within the community, sorry, it's all connected, but within the community, there has been criticisms of these role plays. So taking care of your reborn is one thing, you know, changing its diaper, feeding it, and filming it all for, you know, a day in the life of my reborn kind of thing, or my morning routine with my reborn doll. But some people argue that when people are role-playing sick, but sometimes they're role-playing colds and flus, but other times they're role-playing like limbs being broken, or even these reborn dolls having cancer, and playing out these whole scenarios of their baby having cancer, which I think is pretty offensive to a lot of people. Real parents with children, with real children with cancer, it's really not cool to see somebody online and making it into a game, making it into entertainment.
People are not making it into a game and making it entertainment. They are role playing, or they're playing with their dolls. You know, not everybody thinks the same as us. The majority of people think a certain way, but not everybody does. And so just move on. If it's offensive, don't watch it. It's with anything. It's offensive. Don't watch it. This is what I don't get. There's all kinds of offensive things in this world. All kinds of things that I find very offensive and hurtful. I worked in the mental health field. I have family members, you know, with mental health illness, myself, all kinds of things. If I don't like it, I don't watch it. I move on. Do you know how many jokes are out there? Do you know how much stuff is said? Like, don't tell other people how to play with their dolls. If you don't like it, move on. Don't watch it.
Romanticizing and glorifying having a child with cancer.
No, they're not.
Do understand that criticism. Okay, the next drama / criticism is Arnie. Arnie, the autistic reborn doll. Now, there's a very infamous mom in the reborn community, and I'm not going to share personal info about this mom because from what I saw from other people talking about her, we're trying not to give them more engagement and clicks and everything because they're terrible. So this particular mom reborn mom has a doll named Arnie. We see Arnie all over. You cannot go to reborn doll forums anywhere without seeing Arnie. And this is what he looks like. And mom role plays that Arnie has autism. She claims that she does this to raise awareness because of course she does. She's gained a lot of criticism about this roleplay, though, because, of course, she is mostly just feeding into autistic stereotypes. And then the other big criticism is that she uses the puzzle piece in a lot of her posts. She uses the puzzle piece emoji. And if you don't know, the puzzle piece is a reference to Autism Speaks, autism organization that's supposedly supposed to be autism advocacy, but it has garnered a lot of deserved criticism over the years because Autism Speaks is just an objectively terrible organization.
What do you know about her personally? This mom that you say is so terrible. I don't know too much about her. I do know that in the community, lots and lots of times, I've heard people go on the Facebook groups and that she's been removed from some Facebook groups. But what do you know about her personally? Like, if she's hateful to someone, if she's mean to someone, if she's causing trouble in that way, yeah, you can't be doing that. You know, you can't be bullying, mean, you know, that sort of stuff. But what is she doing? I don't know. I don't know. She has a doll with autism. Who cares? Who really cares? You have a doll with that breastfeeds. Who cares? You have a doll that fell and hurt its head. Who cares? You have a doll with Down syndrome. Who cares? You have a doll. Who cares? Play with the doll in any which way you want. It's a doll.
I'm not going to go into a deep dive of Autism Speaks, but the TLDR is that they treat autism as a disease that should be cured and feed into the stereotype that there's something wrong with you if you have autism or if your child has autism, which of course is not true. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having autism spectrum disorder. It's also just straight up not a disease. It's called autism spectrum disorder. So she's just very clearly doesn't understand autism, and anybody who has ever looked into autism at all knows that Autism Speaks is a terrible organization.
Who cares? Don't follow the organization. I don't know nothing about this organization.
My opinion. And then I saw somebody on Reddit allege, again, take this with a grain of salt, this is alleged, that this reborn mom has called people the R slur when they criticize her. Like, she has actually used
maybe there's something going on with her. Maybe there's something going on with her psychologically. Did you think about that? Just leave her alone? Is it right that she used that word? No, it's not. Is it right that you're criticizing her choice of how to play or the way she plays? Is that right? These are words. Yeah, I don't like that word. It is a slur. But people are harassing her about this. If you just left her alone, I bet you none of this would be going on.
the R slur when people criticize her for her doing these role plays, which is just, I don't have to explain why that's cuckoo bananas. I'm gonna play you a TikTok from this person about talking about this particular mom, because I think she'll do a better job at explaining the criticism than me. She's not only autistic, but she's also a reborn doll.
Oh, this is all about reborns and Jess stuff. I seen part of this today on someone else's video. What irritates me is individuals who feel it's okay to critique how someone else chooses to play, role play, or play with their doll. It's a doll, right? If it irritates you or offends you, move on. It's not a hate. She's not going on there and saying, I hate this doll because it has autism. I hate everything about that condition. She's not doing anything like that. I just don't get why people won't leave other people alone.
Hobbyist and an artist, and so I think she has the best perspective.
Oh yes, of course she does.
It is not okay to role play that you have an autistic child. I can't believe I actually have to say this, and I'm probably going to get a lot of backlash and caught up in all sorts of drama by putting this out here, but this is incredibly offensive. I collect reborn babies. I think it's completely fine for people to role play with their reborn babies as though they were real. What I do not think is...
Okay, so how do you do that? If you think it's completely fine to role play with your doll, if it's real, but it's not okay for it to have a condition, okay? So you must not like the dolls that actually are sculpted to look as if they have Down syndrome. That's okay, right? Because you're not verbally saying, this is my child that has Down syndrome and it had a fit in the mall today. Do you how many people do you know does that? I went in the mall and my baby had a fit today. Think about the individual you're speaking of. Think about them. Do you think by doing what you're doing is making their life better? What do you think? I don't. You play the way you want and leave other people alone.
Is okay is role-playing that your reborn doll has a disability and perpetuating harmful stereotypes about that disability, especially when you don't have that disability yourself and you know very little about it. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with the reborn community and the drama that's going on at the moment, we have someone in the community who has a doll. The doll's name is Arnie. I'm not going to name the individual because I don't...
Well, you just did. You just did by saying the doll's name.
Want her getting any more attention than she already has, but she is role-playing that her doll Arnie is autistic and posting all sorts of things. I will show you some examples about how difficult her days are because Arnie has meltdowns or finds it hard to be out in public and things like that.
Who cares? Yes, it may offend some people. A lot of things I see online is offensive too, but just move on. Just don't look at it. Like, why are you attacking this person? That to me is worse. That's worse.
She has specifically told people that she does not have autism herself and she's something for you to play pretend with.
So that was Reborns of Jess. You can find her on TikTok and show her word for this, which is PDF files. With these hyper-realistic dolls being made, are there some people with nefarious intention?
Can we talk about how ultra-realistic reborn dolls are legally considered as toys and been given to anyone? 45-year-old pedophile man was arrested with reborn dolls in his bedroom. Should we start regulating the distribution of these Are you serious? Dolls have been around forever. Forever. Okay? You can buy blow-up dolls. You can go into Walmart and buy a doll if this person wants to buy a doll. Do whatever. Fuck's sakes.
Who are going to get a hold of them. And I know you guys know this by this point in the video, but I just want to stress that I am not talking about anybody we've talked about in this video. Again, 99.9999 dolls. That full stop right there, that happens once. That should never happen ever, but that is enough for this to be.
I believe this was a dark web customizable doll situation, not a reborn artist agreed to. I don't know what. I'm not going back to see.
To nix out, buy them. Like, if they buy them, it would be pointless.
I'm getting angrier and angrier.
Buy them. Like, if they buy them, because it's not on YouTube anymore. Yeah, if you want to follow that saga too, it's all on Patreon. But so we have is gonna help anybody in that scenario. So, okay. Hi, editing Hannah here. I just want a really quick clarification that I don't mean that this, just because I think that bad people do seek these out, I don't think that means that they shouldn't be made at all. I just realized that I kind of made it sound like I think that this is a good argument for them being completely, like, not even created, and I didn't mean to say that at all.
Serious.
It's not that I don't think that they should be a thing or anything like that just because there's bad people in the world, just that I understand the criticism there. Like, I think that
if reborn dolls weren't around, these people that you're speaking of, that you don't want them to get a hold of this doll, well, just find something else. A different doll that doesn't look so real. Like, it's ridiculous.
That is one reason why a lot of people don't like them, and I just kind of understand that point of view. Okay, so moving on from that, we're done with that very, very terrible and uncomfortable topic, and I'm really sorry, but we had to bring it up because it's just part of this whole niche, this whole world. And again, I hope people, if they're in this hobby, do not take that as me accusing them of anything. Talked about in this video. Again, 99.999999999 for them to end up do a lot of censoring in this video, as you noticed. But if you,
well, I kind of didn't watch a lot of the end of it and part of it because I just can't believe I'm even making this video. It seems like the world just doesn't have common sense anymore. I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know.
Like some uncensored videos, I do those over on my Patreon. We're actually working on a not safe for work iceberg over there right now. By the time this goes out, part 5 will be up. So there's like 5 hours.
All right, guys. Have yourselves a great night.